how the performance bonus works is it's paid out once or twice a year. As the name suggests, it is tied to your performance. So it starts off with a base amount, and this base amount is tied to a combination of your base salary and like your level, like are you software engineer one, two, three, four, etc. And then once you have this base amount, it is then multiplied by two different things to create a final amount. So the two multipliers are personal performance, which is like how well you are doing. Are you like a high performer, a medium performer, or a low performer software engineer? And the second one is the company performance, which is, well, how well is the company like doing overall, which is generally tied to stock price, but it can vary. And like the idea is that like, if you do very well, your bonus becomes bigger. Also, if the company does well, your bonus becomes bigger. And then, if you don't do well, then your bonus is smaller. And it's a pretty sizable sum, especially if you're working in big tech. So it does incentivize you to perform. It just like makes the entire deal way sweeter if you are a performant, like high performing employee of the company.
We know that all of you love examples. And so we're going to try and be transparent here and just share actual numbers of what we've experienced in our industry to give you a sense of what might be possible. So I joined Facebook. I interned at Facebook, like I mentioned. I went off and did some other things, a startup, and I went to Pinterest, but I came back to Facebook. So I joined Facebook in late 2017, and I joined as a senior engineer. And so depending on what level you join at, you have a different bonus multiplier. So for a senior engineer, it's 15% at Facebook. At Facebook, you are paid out bonuses twice a year. In that half, this is the end of 2017, my personal multiplier, my rating for that half was 100%. So what happens at Facebook is you have something called a boot camp. So I joined Facebook in August, and then there's a 6-week boot camp. So I actually ended up joining my team officially in October. And so really there were only about 2 months left in the half, because December, no one really works at Facebook because like you have all these releases go out. And so the default rating is an MA, which is a meets all, which is 100% multiplier, which means like, okay, you just did what you met expectations, nothing exceptional. The company multiplier that half was 90%, which means that the company actually didn't meet all of its goals. And I remember this being a really sad thing for me, because pretty much every half prior to that, Facebook, the company, had exceeded all its goals. And then as soon as I joined, it was the first half in a while where the company didn't actually achieve all its goals. And actually, Cambridge Analytica happened in 2018. So this is actually pre-Cambridge Analytica. And still, Facebook, like the way they figure this out, the board of directors and Mark Zuckerberg, they meet up every half to decide what should the company multiplier be. And, for whatever reason, they decided it would be 90% that half. And so my eligible earnings from the time that I joined Facebook in August up until the end of the half, meaning December, was $62,000. My target bonus was 15%. You multiply that by my individual multiplier, which is 1, so there's no change. And you reduce it by 10% for the company multiplier. And that's how you get $8,300. And that ends up getting paid out in, I believe it was like early March. And so a couple of things to note here. One is that the bonus doesn't get paid out until you're actually at the company at the time of payout. So let's say that you worked up until December. So you worked all of H2 and then you quit in February. You actually wouldn't get any of the bonus here because you haven't stayed up until the payout date in early March. So that's one important thing to keep in mind. And what you'll find is that at many of these tech companies, they will purposefully time their exit to when the bonus is paid out or when their next vesting date happens for their stock.